across the obsidian command deck of the Void Stalker. The digital chronometer bled into 8 o'clock. And from every speaker in the observation tiers, a wet rhythmic thun, tachoday human heartbeat. It arrived via the subspace whisper array, a multi-billion credit communication system now broadcasting a biological metronome instead of diplomatic code. From the speakers, the biological rhythm of the human heart vibrated the obsidian floor. Would you have opened the file? Or would you have let the clock run out too? History has a way of burying those who ignore the heartbeat. The antique, mechanical watch on her wrist, Harper Kross, adjusted with a focused, repetitive twist of the stand. Is the relay synchronized? She asked in a low voice. Behind her, the human technician whispered. Synchronized and recording. She stood perfectly still before the towering, six-legged height of Vorkal, ignoring the unread 72-hour ultimatum pinned to the bottom of the warlord's terminal. Vorkal's voice rasped through the translator like grinding stones, his mandibles clicking in a slow pattern of ritual dominance. Your time is an interesting concept. Human, the hiss, the sound carrying the scent of recycled air. Efficiency suggests we simply remove the clock. Why speak in riddles when your species is already a ghost? Behind Kross, the junior human technician tapped the date pad, his face utterly blank as he noted the thermal readings of the room as if he worked at a logging office supplies for a boring quarterly review in a climate-controlled station. Later, the records would show that the protocol for total mobilization was nested inside a digital folder labeled Potluck Logistics. It was a detail our analysis systems dismissed as a translation error. Molecular resonance is the foundation of the subspace whisper array. Their plea is rhythmic. Counselor, noted our lead analyst as the deck plates hummed. It suggests a primitive tribal desperation. The technology vibrates the subspace fabric itself, turning enemy ship hulls into massive sounding boards. To our core, the sound was merely a nuisance, a submissive plea for attention. Kross did not flinch, though her frame trembled. The clock started when you struck our diplomat in the neutral zone, she said, her voice a flat, dangerous line. Do you know what happens when a machine like this reaches zero? It stops when the hegemony ceases to exist. Vorkal's laugh was a series of sharp clicks as he raised an armored forearm. Came the strike no one expected to be the final word of the KLN Empire. Vorkal backhanded the diplomat across the face. Kross crumpled, her head hitting the deck with a dull thud. The heartbeat pulse from the speakers instantly flatlined into a long, screeching tone. By the Council of Analysts, was the situation judged as a definitive victory? The human technician stood up, pulling a small black cylinder from his pocket. Condition blue. He whispered into the device. The warning has been ignored. Transitioning to phase 2. Duh. Every human signal blinked out of existence across the sector within the hours their fleet burned for the dark. Vorkal sat on his obsidian throne, methodically polishing a victory stone. Convinced he had broken the human spirit, how could they have known the silence was a countdown? We calculated a 99.8% probability that the conflict was over. Across the central spire of Chiron Prime, the celebration of the diplomatic victory reached its third day. Our analysis core monitored the data streams, noting a 99.7% efficiency in the pacification of the sector. Secure in his superiority, Vorkal sat within the throne room, his mandibles clicking in a slow, rhythmic callback to his victory over the human woman. To the KLN mind, the humans had retreated because they lacked the biological fortitude for conflict. A servant approached with a small cup of chilled silverleaf broth. Vorkal took a slow, methodical sip. At exactly 7:50 night, the subspace whisper ray did not broadcast a heartbeat. Instead, the frequency shifted into a singular, agonizingly high note that was felt rather than heard within the control room. Our analysts watched in confusion as every structural bolt in the spire began to hum in perfect unison. 3 days, the humans had given us to read their terms. Now, we realized the whisper was not a plea for mercy, but a molecular map of our own destruction. Through the stag, the image of the unread ultimatum file on Vorkal's terminal flickered. The hidden layer of Harper Kross's behavior finally crystallized in our records. That mechanical watch had never been for her own benefit. She had been manually assisting the local gravitational clock of Chiron Prime with the orbital resonance of a kinetic strike fleet. By the humans was the entire hegemony trapped in a physical loop we could not perceive. Vorkal's obsidian throne vibrated until it shattered into a million black glass needles. The warlord fell to the floor, his 6 legs locking into rigid, useless tripods as the atmosphere itself began to resonate. Beneath the screaming metal of the spire, the very air tasted ozone and copper. Kinetic energy transfer is an unforgiving law of physics when scaled to planetary proportions. From the clouds dropped a series of tungsten slugs, each traveling at 5% the speed of light, guided by the heartbeat frequency we had so casually ignored. Amidst the screaming metal rose the first human landing craft. They did not come with flags or speakers, but with the cold, automated efficiency of a cleanup crew. In the wreckage of the diplomatic shuttle, our sensors identified a single scorched data packet. It was an unread gift for a 7-year-old child named Elias, containing a simple wooden carving of a bird. Broken was the pride of the hegemony. In less than 40 seconds, the subspace whisper array had turned every kale and ship into a tuning fork that tore itself apart from the inside out. Vorkal, stripped of his armor and his titles, was dragged from the glass-strewn floor by 2 humans who did not even look at his face. They moved with a terrifying, mundane focus, as if they were simply filing a late report. The clock had reached 0. The Void Stalker sat as a hollowed shell in the upper atmosphere, its engine silent. On the bridge, the unread 72-hour ultimatum remained on the terminal screen, glowing softly against the dark. The fires of Chiron Prime cast long, flickering shadows across the obsidian deck. The mechanical watch of Harper Kross lay in the dust, its gears finally still. The hegemony was officially reclassified as a level 0 extinct entity,